At the beginning of the 1990s, the Royal Navy was a force designed for the Cold War. The main purpose of its fleet, based around 3 small aircraft carriers and a force of anti-submarine frigates and destroyers, was to search for, and if required, to destroy, Soviet submarines in the North Atlantic. The 1982 Falklands War also demonstrated a requirement for the Royal Navy to maintain an expeditionary capability. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, the Royal Navy has been required to meet a wider range of objectives around the world, while experiencing a gradual reduction in the size of its surface fleet. Fixed-wing carrier operations ceased in 2010 with the retirement of the last Harrier GR-7, GR-9 aircraft. This capability will not be restored until the Joint Combat Aircraft and the first Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carrier become operational around 2020. Cuts have also seen the sale of 3 Type 23 frigates in 2005 sixths and the early decommissioning of 4 Type 22 frigates in 2010-11. Over the course of the 1990s and the 2000s, the Navy began a series of projects to improve its fleet with a view to providing enhanced capabilities, although many programs were reduced in scale. This has led to the replacement of smaller and more numerous units with fewer but larger units. The main examples of this are the replacement of 13 Type 42 destroyers with 6 Type 45s and the replacement of the 3 20,000-ton Invincible-class aircraft carriers with 2 operational 65,000-ton Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers. There are currently 9 ships and submarines under construction, 4 Astute-class submarines, the 2 Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers which began construction in July 2009 and May 2011, and the 3 ocean-going patrol vessels to be delivered from 2017. Preparatory and design work has begun on the Global Combat Ship Program, which will replace the existing frigate fleet from 2021. In addition, the Navy's strategic nuclear role is being extended through the Successor-class submarine program, and the Royal Fleet Auxiliary will receive 4 Tide-class tankers by the end of the decade. Ships under construction. Royal Navy. The following is a list of vessels currently under construction within the United Kingdom and destined for the Royal Navy. Royal Fleet Auxiliary. The following is a list of vessels currently under construction and destined for the Royal Fleet Auxiliary. Future vessels. Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carrier. In the 1998 Strategic Defence Review, a requirement was laid out for a replacement for the Royal Navy's 3 Invincible-class light aircraft carriers. The Invincible-class were originally designed as through-deck cruisers, with each carrying a squadron of ASW helicopters, tasked with patrolling the North Atlantic in search of Soviet submarines. However, with the end of the Cold War, as well as events in the Falklands and the Gulf, the Royal Navy gradually changed in emphasis from an ASW force into an expeditionary force with a need for fleet carriers. As a result, in 2009 BAE Systems began construction on the Queen Elizabeth-class 2 65,000-ton SDOVL-configured supercarriers. The primary weapons system of these ships will be the F-35B Joint Combat Aircraft. The lead ship HMS Queen Elizabeth entered the water in July 2014, with initial flight deck trials expected in 2016 and commissioning in 2018. In September 2014, David Cameron announced that the second ship, HMS Prince of Wales, will enter service alongside her sister ship, earning years of uncertainty about her future. According to Strategic Defence and Security Review 2015, one of the carriers will be adapted towards amphibious operations as HMS Ocean will decommission in 2018. Type 26 and Type 31 frigates in Following the 2010 Strategic Defense and Security Review, a replacement program was authorized for the Navy's current fleet of 13 Type 23 frigates. In 2012, BAE Systems Naval Ships was awarded a contract to design the replacement, known as the Type 26 Global Combat Ship. It was planned that 2 variants of the class would be built: 5 general-purpose frigates and 8 anti-submarine warfare frigates. According to the current timeline, construction will begin in 2016, with the first Type 26 frigate commissioning in 2021 and the last commissioning in the mid-2030s, whilst the Type 23s are gradually phased out. 8 Type 26 frigates will be built initially. The 5 remaining ships will be covered by a new class of lighter, flexible general-purpose frigate, known as the Type 31 General-Purpose Frigate. According to the Strategic Defense and Security Review 2015, the lower cost of these frigates could lead to the Royal Navy acquiring more than 5 of them, thus increasing its numbers of frigates and destroyers. In July 2016, BAE revealed 2 general-purpose ships designs, namely the Avenger-class and the Cutlass-class. Astute-class nuclear submarine. In 1997, the MOD signed a contract with BAE Systems Submarine Solutions to deliver a new class of 7 nuclear-powered attack submarines to the Royal Navy. This class was intended to replace the 5 boats of the aging Swift-Shore class, as well as the oldest 2 boats of the Trafalgar class. The first-in-class HMS Astute was laid down in January 2001 and commissioned into the fleet in August 2010, followed by her sisters HMS Ambush and HMS Artful. As of March 2016, 3 of the boats have been commissioned and entered service, and 3 are under construction. The long lead contract for the 7th boat has been signed and her commissioning is planned for 2024. The Astute class are much larger than their predecessors and have greatly improved stealth, endurance and weapons load. Each submarine is capable of carrying up to 38 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles and Spearfish heavyweight torpedoes. The Vanguard-class success of the UK government is currently conducting preliminary studies into a replacement for the 4 Vanguard-class ballistic missile submarines which carry Britain's nuclear deterrent. In July 2016, it was confirmed that the successor class of submarine would be built retaining the United Kingdom's nuclear deterrent and replacing the current fleet of 4 Vanguard-class submarines. In the run-up to the 2015 general election, both of the UK's 2 main political parties, the Conservatives and Labour, pledged to authorise a like-for-like replacement of the 4 Vanguard-class SSBNs, and to preserve the UK's policy of continuous at-sea nuclear deterrence. The final decision over a replacement was due to be made on the 18th of July 2016. On the day, the House of Commons voted 472 for and 117 against to proceed to build the successor-class submarines, offshore patrol vessels. In November 2013, it was announced that to sustain the UK shipbuilding base, and for defence-related reasons, 3 new offshore patrol vessels with Merlin-capable flight decks are to be built. In August 2014, BAE Systems was awarded a £348 million contract to design and build the new class. The vessels will be significantly larger than the River class and will be built on the Clyde in Scotland, with an in-service date of 2017. It is envisaged that they will be used for constabulary duties such as counter-terrorism, counter-piracy and anti-smuggling operations. The vessels will be named HMS Forth, HMS Medway and HMS Trent. They will displace around 2,000 tons, be equipped with a 30mm main gun, 16-ton crane for 2 seaboats, capable of making 24 knots and patrol for upwards of 6,000 miles at 35 days with a basic crew of just 34, a maximum of 60. The latest Strategic Defense and Security Review 2015 stated that 2 more OPVs will be procured. Mine countermeasures and hydrographic capability. The 2010 SDSR stated that the existing Hunt class and Sandown class of mine countermeasure vessels were to be replaced. The new vessels would use a common hull and modular design to support modern mine countermeasure, hydrography and patrol requirements. In December 2010, an analyst suggested that current plans seem to point to a single class of vessel about 100 meters in length and between 2,000 and 2,500 tons displacement. These will deliver on the MCM survey and patrol requirements using a range of off-board systems like USVs, UAVs and UUVs. Quote, "It was also said that any program would seek to replace the Hunt, Sandown, Echo and River classes currently in service." During June 2011, BAE Systems and Seabyte of Edinburgh, Scotland, signed a cooperation agreement to pursue business opportunities associated with the UK's Mine Countermeasure, Hydrography and Patrol Capability Programme. Quote, "In January 2012, DSDL of the Ministry of Defence announced a program in concept phase with interests in the development of remote mine countermeasure and hydrography systems such as UAVs, USVs and UUVs. Such systems would offer unique capabilities and deliver elements of a wider MHPC program. In May 2012, shortly after the DSDL release, the MOD published a joint concept note entitled Future Black Swan Class Sloop of War. The MOD publication outlined the future maritime needs and challenges of the Royal Navy and focused on the potentiality of the Royal Navy returning to large numbers sloops as a solution. It proposes a class of around 40 sloops of war, displacing 3,150 tons, a length of 95 meters and a low unit price of £65 million. The sloops would incorporate a modular design, including a mission bay for UAVs, USVs and UUVs during mine countermeasures and hydrography tasks. A large flight deck capable of accommodating a Boeing CH-47 Chinook-sized helicopter for disaster relief operations and external module stowage. 4. The ability to add and remove various offensive and defensive weapons when needed. The external module stowage is described as facilitating capability packages so that the sloop can be reconfigured for different roles when the need arises. Fixed weapons include a single 30mm gun, 2 miniguns and 2 GPMGs. 4. Sea control or war-fighting capability packages. The Black Swan class would be reconfigured with containerized missile modules for land attack, anti-ship and anti-air missiles in addition to the sloop's fixed weapons. A towed array sonar could also be fitted as well as directed energy weapons. The Black Swan class would have a core crew of 8 with additional crew added depending on the capability package. For example, in some configurations a crew of 40 would be required. The order for the River Class Batch 2 led to the patrol element being dropped from the requirement in 2013. The concept phase established that most elements of the capability could be delivered by off-board systems from steel ships, but a low-signature hull has not yet been discounted. The project passed initial gate in July 2014 and is now in the early stages of its assessment phase, which will deliver 3 technology demonstrators. The 2015 SDSR specified that only 12 mine countermeasure vessels will exist in Joint Force 2025. The 3 oldest Sandown-class minehunters will be decommissioned. The UK and France will collaborate on a maritime mine countermeasures project. Royal Fleet Auxiliary 4 37,000-ton Tide-class fast fleet tankers are currently being built in South Korea by Daewoo Shipbuilding and AMP Marine Engineering for the Royal Fleet Auxiliary under the first phase of the Military Afloat Region Sustainability Project. The ships will provide fuel, food, fresh water and other supplies to Royal Navy warships, and are projected to enter service at a rate of about 1 ship every 4 or 5 months from September 2016. The Strategic Defense and Security Review 2015 confirmed that 3 new large Mars solid support ships would be acquired for the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, to replace the single-hulled RFA Fort Victoria, which entered service in 1994, and RFA Fort Rosalie and RFA Fort Austin. The ships are expected to enter service in the mid-2020s. The SDSR did not mention any current plans to replace RFA Diligence, which will go out of service in 2020, or RFA Argo, which will go out of service in 2024. The decision may be taken before or during the next defense review in 2020. A parliamentary reply on the 21st of March 2016 noted that the consideration of options to deliver the capabilities provided by RFA Diligence and RFA Argus remains ongoing. An August 2016 notice stated that RFA Diligence is placed up for sale. However, it is stated that the MOD is considering options for a replacement aircraft. Fixed-wing aircraft. The aircraft carrier's major instrument of power projection is the carrier air group. The larger the air group, the more tasks it can perform. The Invincible class, because of its small size, has only a limited capacity, and is only capable of operating SDOVL aircraft. The Harrier GR7, GR9. In 2006, the Sea Harrier was withdrawn from service. This saw the frontline Sea Harrier squadron of the Fleet Air Arm converting to the Harrier GR9. As part of the evolution of the Joint Force Harrier concept, the Harrier's eventual replacement in both the RAF and the FAA is the F-35 Lightning II Joint Combat Aircraft. The F-35 will be a significant improvement over the Harrier in terms of speed, range and weapon load. The UK had plans to order 138 F-35Bs for the Royal Navy and Royal Air Force. The financial crisis led to the decision taken in the Strategic Defense and Security Review 2010 to immediately withdraw the Harrier GR9 force in late 2010 along with HMS Ark Royal, to reduce the total number of F-35s planned for purchase by the UK, and to purchase the F-35C C-80OBAR version rather than the SDOVL F-35B. By May 2012, the government had decided to purchase the short takeoff version, the F-35B, instead. In July 2012, the Secretary of State for Defense stated that an initial 48 F-35Bs will be purchased to equip the carrier fleet. In September 2013, it was announced that the 2nd JSF Squadron would be the Fleet Air Arm's 809 NAS. Chancellor George Osborne announced on the 22nd of November 2015 that the UK will have 24 F-35Bs on its 2 new carriers by 2023. The Strategic Defense and Security Review 2015 also confirmed that the United Kingdom will buy 138 F-35s over the life of the program. On the 20th of May 2016, it was reported that the UK would field 4 frontline squadrons, including 809 NAS and 617 Squadron, 1 operational conversion squadron and 1 operational evaluation squadron. 809 NAS will stand up in April 2023. Helicopters. The 2010 Strategic Defence and Security Review states that the Royal Navy will operate 2 types of helicopter in the future, the AW101 Merlin and the AW159 Lynx Wildcat. The anti-surface, anti-submarine mission remains the purview of rotary aircraft. In small ships, this is the updated Mk8 version of the Lynx. The future Lynx program has seen 28 of the new AW159 Lynx Wildcat ordered for the Royal Navy. In the carriers and in later frigates, the larger Merlin anti-submarine warfare helicopter is used. There are 38 Merlin helicopters in service, and an upgrade plan intended to increase the flexibility of use until 2029 is planned. In late 2009 it was announced that the Fleet Air Arm would retire its remaining Sea King HC-4 helicopters, the place being taken by Merlins upgraded and transferred from the Royal Air Force. The future AEW capability of the FAA is the Crow's Nest program, which intended to replace the current Sea King ASA C-7 fleet due to retire in 2016. Current plans will see Crow's Nest enter service in 2022, acting as a roll-on, roll-off fit for the FAA's Merlin HM2 helicopters. The original 6-year capability gap between the retirement of the Sea King ASA C-7 fleet and the entry service of Crow's Nest was the source of much criticism. A recent PAC report, however, has revealed the main gate decision for the Crow's Nest to be around 2017. Crow's Nest will be operational by 2019. Thales was selected as the chosen bidder to provide the radar and mission system at the heart of the Crow's Nest capability on the 22nd of May 2015. They will provide a slightly upgraded version of the existing Searchwater 2000 radar. Remote piloted air systems. The RN has been slower to adopt unmanned systems than some other navies. Following trials with the rail-launched ScanEagles, it started operational flights of leased ScanEagles in January 2014, watching for swarm attacks on HMS Somerset and RFA Cardigan Bay in the Persian Gulf. This was expanded in November 2014, when 700X NAS was formed to serve as both the parent unit for ship-based ScanEagle flights, and as the evaluation unit for any future RPAS systems that the Royal Navy elects to try. The ScanEagle will however be withdrawn by 2017 and likely to be replaced by an unknown UAS chosen through the Unmanned Warrior exercise in 2016. DSDL are testing ISR packages compatible with the RQ-208 Puma hand-launched UAV on board the M80 Stiletto U.S. Special Forces trials ship in November 2014 under capability demonstration 15-1. The optionally manned PZL Widnick SW-4 Solo will fly from an RN ship in 2014 as part of the UK's RWUAS Capability Concept Demonstrator program. The Royal Navy has also utilized 3D-printed unmanned aircraft in its operations. The Royal Navy has planned for 2 future UAS, the Flexible Deployable UAS and Joint Mini-UAS programs. FDUAS is seen as ETSI Eagle Plus, while JMUAS is a UAS for the Royal Marines. Weapons. Sea-Scepter or FLAADS is a short-range air defense missile to replace Sea Wolf-on Type 23 frigates from 2016. Sea Viper, used by the Type 45 destroyers, has undergone trials using its SAMPSIN radar to track ballistic missiles, and work is ongoing to develop its Aster missiles to counter ballistic missiles. The UK is also considering upgrading its Type 45 destroyers with the Aster 30 Block 1 NT missile. Martlet, and the lightweight multi-role missile, is a short-range, supersonic anti-ship missile for use against small surface warships, patrol vessels and craft. Martlet is due to enter service around 2015 on the Fleet Air Arm's new Lynx Wildcat maritime helicopters. Sea Venom, a bigger anti-shipping missile launched from helicopters, to replace Sea Skua from 2020. The Spear 3 missile is a multi-role networked anti-ship and land attack missile based on the Brimstone anti-tank missile with the JSOW air turbojet, to extend the range to over 120 kilometers. 4 Spear 3 can fit into internal weapons bay of an F-35B. MBDA are also looking at ship launch for members of the Brimstone family. Perseus, a supersonic multi-role cruise missile, under development by MBDA in consultation with the Royal Navy and French Navy, was unveiled at the Paris 2011 Air Show. In the 2016 UK-France Security Summit, the two parties pledged to work on their joint concept phase for the future cruise anti-ship weapon program to identify solutions for replacement of the Scalp, Storm Shadow missiles for both countries, Harpoon for the UK and Exocet for France. The RN is looking at laser weapons, using energy storage from the British motorsport industry. The Royal Navy expects to test its first directed energy weapon at sea within the next 2 years. A May 2016 news article stated that the UK's DSDL is funding the testing of a laser weapon fired from a Phalanx CIWS in 2018.